Good evening. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program with breaking news from the world of sports and emotional devastation. The Cleveland Browns have officially filed a restraining order against two local podcasters, identified as Rich and Nate, citing excessive emotional damage and repeated psychological whiplash. According to the court filings, the duo has been charged with count 1, publicly declaring hope, count 2, delusional preseason predictions, and count 3, repeatedly saying this might be our year. Team lawyers argue the podcasters have contributed to unstable fan morale, increased heart rates, and at least 4 remote controls thrown through televisions. A spokesperson for the Browns stated, quote, "We simply ask that Rich and Nate seek professional help before continuing their reckless optimism." We reached out to Rich and Nate for comment. The official statement read, "We refuse to apologize and will continue to talk our trash." And now, the defendants themselves present Flagrant Foul with Rich and Nate. Let the chaos begin.
Yeah. Hey, Cleveland roots with a reckless style. Take so bold, they're flagrant foul. House on the ice, Notre Dame pride. Wrestling talk about culture, ride from Rich to Nate. It's full court wow. Sit back, press play. It's flagrant foul. Yeah, it's flagrant foul.
Welcome to Flagrant Foul, episode 18. This is Rich. You notice there's no Nate this week. Homeboy is buckled down for finals week. So we brought on our boy, Big Dave, to fill in the slot. Pretty geeked he's on here today. So, yeah, well wishes to Nate as he tries to pound through this first semester of his MBA. So I know he's ready to be done with college. So he's
amazing.
Pretty unhappy.
Pretty impressive. He still wants to continue his education. But
he doesn't want to. It's just it's part of his +1. It is like, you'll be doing your MBA. It's free.
All right.
But whatever. Let's get into it. I've been like, I needed these extra days. Browns, Titans. Oh my God, dude. That was freaking pissing me off. So, I mean, definitely were some highlights, but I don't know. I guess if we knew what was going on behind the scenes, whether I agreed with it or not, I would probably be less pissed off by the whole situation, because you're just literally scratching your head going, what the fuck's with these play calls?
These guys that run the team, it's like they are acting like they are the Hallis Bears, or there's a dynasty where they're smarter than everybody else, and they're withholding all this information, and they're not really forthright. But I'm like, bro, you won 6 games in 2 years. Like talk about it. Let us know what the deal is. But that, what was weird was that I figured Shedeur would have a good game because Tennessee's defense is a little suspect, but I didn't expect the mighty Browns defense to just get punched in the face right from the start. And, they really couldn't, they really couldn't keep it together for a whole game. They had a couple moments, but it was just unusually, unusual to see the defense lay an egg for the whole game. I expected the eggs, usually, of course, from the special teams, and they did not disappoint. But, and the offenses looked promising under Shedeur, and sure, we'll dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, how much do you think on defense? I mean, we had a couple, so did Mason Graham not play?
No.
And then,
so Mason I think he had a thigh injury. He was questionable up till Wednesday, and he was getting platooned out a lot more than we're used to. Obviously with Malik Collins being gone, who's, just been performing at an all-pro level, it taps into the depth of the defense. And I saw a lot of Shelby Harris. I saw a lot of 92 Sam Kamara, who just got moved up. But a lot of the yards were on the end. So sometimes teams will take advantage of the aggressive nature of Miles and of, I know Isaiah McGuire's very aggressive and he's gotten caught a couple times, but I thought with the return of Alex Wright, our run D would kind of solidify a little bit more, but it just never did.
Yeah, I mean, I guys wonder, it's definitely depleted defensive line. We didn't have the pass rush to start. Some of the scheming, I mean, we were getting burned some of our coverages, at least in the first couple series. So I didn't love that, but that definitely, they just go out there, march down the field and score to start the game. Like, you're already thinking, I don't know what delusional universe we're sitting in. We're all like, yeah, we got the Titans, it's going to be a dub. Defense is going to my fantasy Browns defense is getting ready to put up a ton of points now. They just, go out there, shit the bed. On the offense, they were able, so they got the run going a little bit. I'm glad they stuck to the run. I still question some of the Wildcats, whatever. Stefanski's prone to finding something and overusing the shit out of it. But
Mhm.
I mean, at some point, if we're just tanking the season, we're seeing what you have in the guy. Like, let's just see how Shadur is in some of those situations now. It definitely seemed like they didn't care and they tried to throw the game. So whatever. I'm gonna focus on bright spots. He looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say what you want. Tennessee's a crap team. They do have some good, decent players. They've had some games that they played some decent teams tough. And they're an NFL team, and he's still a rookie. And last I checked, Dylan lost to the Jets. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I thought he looked good. He made some throws. He's improved. He did have some, what are you doing back there? Some Chris Hyatt, what are you doing back there, please? Running around. But I mean, here's the thing with him. I feel like 3 weeks in a row, I've seen improvement with him in the pocket.
Yep. He
I
still
mean,
does some weird things like the patting the ball, he bounces around like he's a top athlete and he really isn't. But I'm starting to see he's the plays he's taken versus the times he's been sacked, which is a pretty good indicator of performance, and he's really starting to kind of pop out much better than he did in college, and he's on par with like your top quarterbacks in that regard. So I mean, and he had we got the makeshift offensive line. We lost Posick in the middle, the third or the fourth. Weipler came in, looked decent in pass pro run. He's still a little iffy. I think they're going to take a real hard look at Weipler and Tevin Jenkins for the foreseeable future, because Posick's going to be a free agent next year. Batonio's going to be who knows next year. Teller's probably gone. And then we're going to need a whole lot of offensive linemen. But it's we need some receivers, man. That
I mean, how much of that do you think, like, with Shadur? So, like, again, I'm not going to feed too much into he hasn't gotten reps with certain, but, like, obviously he wasn't working with specific starting receivers for long periods of time. He wasn't the guy. And if that wasn't their focus, then he shouldn't have been. That's fine. But if you're developing chemistry, like, our receivers are already not great.
right.
Jerry Judy, I mean, he had an okay game, but I trust him as much as I trust egg with a bottle of Rumplemans. um, so it's whatever. But like outside of that, like some flashes from Corley. Tillman can be a bonehead. Like you just wonder, like he doesn't trust people. He doesn't have the chemistry with them. I feel like that's going to improve. I'm kind of like for this week, I was like, can we bring up Luke if he's healthy?
Yeah.
And I know those guys had a little jazz. Maybe we can see what he could do with him. I mean, he's definitely seemed to have gotten some chemistry with Fannin. So like when he's in, he's definitely his security blanket. We'll see, but I'm glad that they made the comment. We're going to go with the guy.
Yeah.
You got to see what you have for 4 games. And if it continues to progress and it looks good, I'm all for running with Watson and him
Yep.
next year and focusing on the rest of this team. And then if it doesn't work out next year, after we've got another year of building some young guys, then let's go for, somebody in the draft the following year. But
Yeah, I definitely think the popular thing for the offseason is going to be they're going to pick an offensive lineman free agent. They're going to probably spend some money on that. They're going to all the mocks are going to see top receiver at whatever 5, 6, 7 pick we end up with, and then just tackles and linemen for the rest. And I'm completely good with that. I've done a little bit of a look into the draft class, and unfortunately last year was probably the good year to grab a tackle. This year it's going to be pretty iffy. We have a lot of good guards, it looks like, not a whole lot of ready to start NFL left tackles, so we may end up getting stuck with Cam for another 1-year deal.
dude, he's terrible.
He's
He-
very middle of the road in pass coverage, but he's terrible against a
Yeah.
good defender. He's literally a jag, just a guy, your typical vet. And we're probably going to lose Conklin, so we're going to have to depend on, Big DeWand, who has never been able to do a full season yet. He's pretty solid when he's there on the pass, but we still need to address that. Yeah.
Dude, if I So speaking of the line, like if I needed more reasons to hate the Broncos, like Mark Schlereth can get fucked. He was
Oh,
pissing me off. Schlereth out there going like, that probably should have been a flag on the hold, but I love it. What are you
yeah.
talking about? It's like he's freaking holding on the play. It's bullshit. They should
Yeah,
be flagging it.
the 3-9 Browns versus the 1-11 Titans. You basically got the bottom of the barrel, you scraped it, and then you pulled out whatever is underneath that, and then that was the Fox play-by-play team. It's not going to get much better for the next couple of weeks, but
I'm not understanding that. We should be getting like their A team.
I think now Shadur's got so much buzz that he could probably, generate a good amount of audience. But the next 4 games, he got the thumbs up by Stefanski, and it's fun. I'm watching on Twitter like they're setting him up to fail. I'm like, people want him to start, and now he's got the green light for the last 4 games. And Tennessee's not a great defense, but they were probably better than 3 out of the 4 teams we're going to play. We're going to go to play Buffalo at home on Sunday, and they have a they got a decent decent coverage, decent defense, but they have some holes. So I could see Shador doing well. Next week they go to Chicago. Chicago's got a real opportunistic defense that gets a lot of turnovers, but they're involved in a lot of shootouts. I could see Shador getting another 300 and some touchdowns on that. And just hopefully, I think that's what they're going to try to do, and just light it up and hope our defense can generate some points or some stops. And then you got Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh annihilated us because they took away our ability to pass quickly. They sent it right up the middle because we had a member of the Lollipop Guild at quarterback at the time. So they just pressured him up the middle. And, unfortunately, Dylan wasn't able to get rid of the ball. Now you got Shador. If he can get past, the guys can hold the line for a little bit, he could probably get past those middle of the road defensive backs. And then Cincinnati, I would be surprised if Shador does not go over 3 bills against Cincinnati. Their pass defense is basically like me, you, and Hyatt in pads against an NFL team.
No, we sent in a couple of RFL videos. I feel like we got a chance of pulling a Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement here. You never know. I don't, so this is what I'm thinking. Like at this point, I think we'll probably are going to end up winning one more game, and I could see us screwing around and winning 2. So like we're going to get a top 10 pick. That's what I think. I mean, we'll get a top 10 pick. That's fine. And in so many respects, I don't want like a top 3 pick simply because, which we don't have right now, because we'll fuck it up. Right. We're not going to do the right pick, and the pressure of all that, unless like we were in a position to like, trade down and fleece somebody that really wanted. But, I don't, I watched the Big Ten championship game last week. Mendoza's a good quarterback. I'm not going to argue that he's not, but, you're still rolling the dice with every one of these rookies to come into the league. And I just don't like, regardless, let's say you get a guy like that to do what? So with the rest of your picks, you're going to get enough weapons and enough line that you're not going to like, because the chance to start him, will be all about trying to play him right off the bat.
Absolutely.
And he's just going to wreck him. And I don't know. I'm not there yet. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with this coaching staff. I will say this, like, I'm not a Stefanski fan, so there's probably some middle of the road. I'm prone to exaggerate from, on a rare occasion, it's pretty rare, but it does happen in a fit of rage. But I would say, like, is he the worst coach in the league? No. Is he a great coach? I don't think so. It's probably somewhere in the middle. And at the end of the day, I think it's just maybe time for a reset either way. I think that just maybe like, it's so like the well is so poisoned right now. And like, whether he's a coach or not trying to get back on the track, like there's the losing is just sort of perpetuated. And I think we just need somebody new to come in and change things. I mean, that's to say, even with like Shador right now, like he's proven that he should continue to play. Does that mean that he's going to be the future? I don't know. I mean, who knows? He's got a lot to work on, but we should still see him. But it's still nice to have something to be maybe excited about, have a little buzz around the team for a change. I just been like, I mean, even watching him when he's running around some of these head scratcher plays, I would still rather watch that than Dylan any day of the week.
Absolutely. So the Stefanski thing, what is it, year 6? We've had 2 good years. I think Stefanski himself's going to be like, man, I think we're headed for a move, unless he gets something with Shador. I saw the Alex Wright. I think it was yesterday. He I was on a press conference, call-in press conference, and he was the one that says, "I'm when I was hurt, I was always coming in first one in the first one in Berea, and then I would walk by the office, and it is Shador just working with Stefanski." So I mean, like you said, he's not a great coach. He's got some. I'm probably more high on him than any of us in our text group, but I'm fizzling hard on him. But again, and there's something to be said for continuity. Unless we got, I mean, I don't want to just grab some retread scrub coordinator just to say something new, but also I can't trust Andrew Berry to draft an offensive lineman that doesn't suck ass too.
No.
Or
I think, you've said this multiple times. I would be so nice to see him go into a president role and get another GM in here. He does have some attributes.
Mhm.
Drafting's not one of them. It'd be nice if you could retain him while maybe bringing in another, a strong GM with a strong record of draft. I think there's something to be said too. Like I heard this a few weeks ago when you talk about like when you look at Vrabel and you look at coaches in front offices, like analytics are fine. Cleveland's not we need a football guy that has like a sense of football players, wants to play hard-nosed football. I know the game's changed. I know we're going to a dome, but at the end of the day, like that's AFC North football. And we're soft as hell. So,
and you could even
I don't know.
You can even be into analytics, but just sound like you want to punch people in the mouth. Like, don't come across like I strictly as analytics and this does this. No, you can have it. I'll say it all you want. Be an analytics nerd up here, but on your press conferences, say I want to run the wall, I want to punch it down the throat. Like everyone loves Dan Campbell. He, for all of his gruff, he has a very analytics based coaching staff around him. Philadelphia, same thing. Sirianni is the big emotional guy, but they're literally probably the most analytics based, team in the NFL. So it's, I think a lot of Stefanski comes across like a tool bag. Like he's, I got the I'm 2-time coach of the year of this and that. But he comes off like a knee bag. Like just,
I want to fight him.
I
want to fight him. I don't know how it would go. But he makes me so bad. I'm like, whatever. Well, I'm glad that you're keeping me in check because, I mean, we could get Andy Reid in here and, he has a bad 15 minutes and I'm going to absolutely annihilate his entire career. I'm just sick of freaking losing. God dang. Like, we're not going to jump ship, but can we just have one freaking year of some hope? Yeah. And Nate and I talked about this in a way earlier episode. Can you just imagine? Not that Baker's had some success. I'm still, whatever. He probably would have been a successful guy here. He kind of hurt himself by wanting to be I'm going to play through pain. He probably did himself a disservice.
He maybe do it again right now, Tampa.
Dude, had we freaking beat the Chiefs, I honestly think we could have made the Super Bowl. And even if we lost, I think that just absolutely changes the whole course of the team. I think that's a big one. Nate hit the nail on the head. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, too, about we need another guy like Landry that came in that was just all about, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to hold the team accountable. I don't know that we have that guy. I think we have some rookies that want to be that guy, but you're a rookie. So, I mean, it's hard to get everybody to sort of lead you when you've gotten, a handful of games under your belt. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, whoever our next analytics guy is, like, the number one thing's going to be like, did you have... what's his name? Did Jonah Hill play you in the movie about you? And if the answer is yes, you can fuck right on off.
Wrong yet. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not happening. But I don't know. I'm not super hopeful. There's not tons to talk about with the Browns. Well, and I guess if there's anything good, if just put the nail in the coffin, we could stop talking about playoffs every year. I think at the end here, we've been sort of dancing around the real issue all year is, it's coaching. It's what players are we putting in, did Chris Hyatt truly have his shirt off during the first part of the year?
Absolutely not. I mean, his records.
And despite what he said, the just complete he got missing for 2 hours during parts of this game. Oh yeah, I'm here. I mean, let's put blame where blame belongs. Absolutely. I mean, his fandom's in question. I hope he does better next year.
He's got to be
We'll
better.
see.
He's definitely got to be better next year.
He's got to do better.
It starts with him. He's got to be better.
Yeah, I'm slightly disappointed in him, but if I know Egg, he'll rally, he'll be back. Uh, we'll see what happens. But so here's the other thing. So let's say they roll with Shedeur and Watson. You think Dylan stays around as like your developmental? I think they're not going to go wait. Here's my thing. If you're going to roll with those two guys, keep them. That's your third string guy to keep working with. He can come in and not turn the ball over. Like, we don't need to go draft another base to pick on that next year.
So, I mean, with Dylan, he's got all these this game experience, right? He's got all these years of college. He's basically, he's not a starter. We've got our Chase Daniel, our veteran already. You keep him as QB3 because he's on a third round quarterback contract, rookie deal, unless someone gives us a third, maybe a high fourth. And wants to have him play for him. Otherwise, we just keep him because after next year, we're going to probably be able to move on from Watson's egregious contract. But in the meantime, if Watson with maybe this role of mentor, maybe it's a new thing for him. Maybe it's who knows? I mean, I don't know. He's been pretty unlikable, and just being a mentor for this fan favorite would do a world of positive PR for him, and he's seen a lot, right? He is an all-pro quarterback, just not recently. So we got a nice platoon of quarterbacks. If that's the case, if I think they're still going to look, if there's an opportunity to get a good quarterback, they're going to get him. I don't think they're going to be able to get, Mendoza. I don't think the cat from Oregon is ready to go. He's going to need another year of seasoning as well. Yeah. They're looking at somebody, but I think they're going to move on to other areas of need. I think that's where the scouting's been focused. I've been watching where the scouts have been playing or been spending their weekends, and it's a lot of lineman heavy teams. So hopefully we're getting the fucking memo, and they're gonna, I want some giant Islanders as on my offensive line. That's all I want. I want their names.
Dude, we have to.
I want their names that end in vowels. I want them large. I want them looking like Moana, the guys from Moana, Maui. I want tattoos. I want anger. That's what I want. And then I want one guy that just pulls and goes crazy.
Yeah. I'm done with the good offensive linemen that can't stay on the field.
Yep. Give me Pacific Islanders wrestlers and shot putters that are linemen, and I will be happy.
You'd be like, can you do that? I need you to do what is it, the haka or the haka or whatever it's called. Not to offend anybody, I don't know the names right. If you can't do that, we don't want you.
That's right.
Okay, that's all there is to it. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But so moving on. College, I'm still fuming about this whole ND thing, and I'm gonna be upfront. Like, you can talk about, I understand why they're not in a conference. They're not in a conference because they're not trying to divide all that money. And realistically, Notre Dame is not a big school, and they need the money to be able to compete as a smaller private school, and that's fine. I think the thing that pisses me off is, everybody's like, head to head. It's the second game of the year on the road, and it was a 3-point loss. And if you have eyeballs, you've clearly seen that Notre Dame's gotten better. They don't have a bad loss to like a Florida State team like Miami has. And at the end of the day, if you wanted to move Miami, why didn't you do it for fun? Like, you can't justify to me that you did not move Miami for 5 weeks, and then you chose to do it when neither team played. That's it. I mean, that's it. That's at the end of the day, it makes zero sense to me. And really, are we trying to have like a crown a national champion? Do we really care about having truly like a good playoff with the best teams that actually have a choice? Because, I mean, I get it. There should be an avenue to have some people in, but JMU and Tulane, give me a freaking break.
Yeah. That's going to be a bloodbath. Oregon. It's going to be a bloodbath. And it's like,
do they have JMU? Oregon has JMU, right?
I believe so. Yeah. And then the winner plays Texas Tech.
So, but think about this. Does the winner of Texas Tech, or do they have Indiana?
I thought
because
Oregon goes to, I think Oregon. James Madison, that winner plays Texas Tech. Yeah.
And then the winner of that'll probably play Indiana, right? Okay.
You
But
think they play it
because
off?
they're on the top half
They're
of the
Indiana's
bracket.
one. Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. So think about that, though. Even from the logistics of the playoff, like, so you essentially have an Oregon team that was highly ranked enough. They deserve to be in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're not, but they didn't play in the Big Ten championship game, so they just got a bye week. Then they're going to get a cupcake over JMU, and then they get to play Texas Tech. Like Tech as a bye week top 4 seed. Like, why are we giving? It's almost like we've just gave an advantage to some of these teams that didn't have to play. Because you can say all you want about Notre Dame not playing that conference championship, but you can say that about a lot of teams. Can we please get rid of these championship games and just do play-in games?
Yeah. You can see the Ohio State game, you could tell that they were holding back on the play calling. I mean, it might have been because of Heartline, right? But, they're probably think we're going to see these guys again and we're going to steamroll them when it matters. So we're going to play them tight. We're going to go conservative with our play calls. And I think you'll see, I'm not a Buckeye fan by any means, but I think you're going to see a big difference if Ohio State plays Indiana again, because they're going to open up the playbook and you're going to kind of see what Ohio State has to offer if that happens.
That was probably the worst thing that could have happened to everybody else in the playoffs is that Ohio State lost that game. And I've been saying that, like, you don't want them to lose because they're now probably going to exact vengeance on everybody through that bracket. But I don't like, here's my other thing with this championship games for these conferences. So, like, go back to like a JMU. I'm not saying there shouldn't be an avenue for a team like that. Like, they're going to get killed. We all know they do. But there's some, you have off years, like Boise maybe last year, who they got killed too. But you got these teams, you got to give them an avenue. It's called the play-in game. And if let's say the JMU had played like Oklahoma or something and they beat them, yes, put them in the tournament.
Right.
But just to put them in based off of the schedule that they played is nonsense. I would say, the other thing with the conference championship that kind of pisses me off is like, we're having these conference championships games is because we've now made these SEC and Big Ten teams that have 20 freaking teams in it. So you can't play everybody and we have to have a championship game. So why are we doing that? Money. And then money again, but then you're going to begrudge the Irish having a contract so that they can make money to be competitive. It's bullshit. So, I mean, if we're truly trying to get the 12 best teams into a tournament, I honestly think there should be no buys. You do a play-in game and we get right into the bracket. We find out who it is.
Do 16 and I would get 4 more at-large bids and then just do 16. You want your scrubs that are, the bottom feeding champions, go ahead. Yeah. But then you're just going to get 3 or 4 more teams, you're going to get your Notre Dame, you're going to get another SEC team, you're going to get another Big Ten team, you're going to, you're going to add some more firepower. You're not going to add any more mid-level teams, that's going to be more top-heavy teams, which I'm sure people would rather watch anyway.
Well, this is my plan for the playoffs. And I don't want to ever be told that I'm a bandwagoner because I've been a Cleveland Browns fan for life. And if I ever wanted to jump ship, there's been opportunities, which will never happen. But I am jumping on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I like their defense, and I want to see it. I think it would be that. And I could get behind Ole Miss, though I don't think they have a shot. But Texas Tech might sneaky get themselves into the game. I don't know if they can win it all, but I think they could make the national championship. They're good.
Yeah, they've been fun to watch. I've seen them a little bit earlier in the year, and the linebacker, is pretty cool guy, Rodriguez.
Dude, I love that dude. Yeah. That dude's like freaking Odell, one-handed INTs, athletic as hell.
Yep. Yeah. They got a couple decent pass rushers, so they might be able to make a little noise in the playoff. We'll see. It could be a fun game between them and Oregon. If Oregon makes it past the vaunted JMU squad. So
my Notre Dame plan is so you want us to join a conference? I say I don't know how that works with like JMU. It's like the highest ranked of the like remaining non-power conference, right. I guess is how that gets in. I want let's just join the MAC or like Mountain West and just go 11-0 every year or 12-0 and just embarrass them. Be forced to be in and be like, okay, that's what we're doing. How do you like us now? But whatever. I don't begrudge them not playing in the bowl game, and I know it probably does seem like sour grapes and they don't want to play. I'm sure there's a lot of bit of them sending a message. There's several teams that are not opting into bowl games, but if you look at their recruiting class and you look when a bowl game could be, I seriously think they're like, we're getting ready to come to exact vengeance next year. And they're already moved on. They're working on 26. They got some stud running backs and a couple other players that are going to be in the draft. Why we're really going to run them out in a meaningless bowl game to potentially get hurt? Like, screw it. We don't need to. We'll refocus. Their draft class next year is pretty ridiculous. The next 3 years look pretty sick for that team.
Yep. I actually got to see a couple of Notre Dame recruits commit offers or commits down here in Florida. The youngest Pouncey brother, he's like a 6'3", defensive back, wide receiver, going to be a perfect free safety. He's going to be amazing. He'll probably start for Notre Dame right away.
Yeah.
Legitimately a 5-star blue chip athlete compared to the other kids on the field that I saw twice. And then Grubbs, they got this kid quarterback from Lake Mary, about a half hour from me in Orlando. He's a committed Notre Dame since last year. He is I think he's going to end up giving giving old CJ a run for his money next couple of years. So those are two guys that I've seen for myself, and they're pretty legit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my old Marcus is a class act. He's all about playing the subs in these blowouts. I think next year, every game, I don't care how bad you are, you're getting blown out.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a bloodbath. Well,
For sure.
Heisman, I saw you said the Heisman announcement. Love Mendoza saying, and who is it? The kid from
Diego? Vandy?
Vandy, Pavia? Yeah. So, I mean, I'd love to see Jeremiah Love get it. He's not getting it. I can't see any world that they're not giving it to Mendoza. But, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are. And unless, that voting, does that voting happen before the national championship game?
I think it does. They do it right before. It's pretty much Mendo. That win against Ohio State. Yeah, he's goofy.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a goober, but he's a South Florida kid. He's got the mom with MS. So it's a great story. His little brother is the backup at Indiana.
I know, I saw that.
And he's a good quarterback. I don't know how he's going to project in the NFL. He seems to me like Kirk Cousins with some legs. So, and that's not a bad. But this dude can throw some backside throws like it's nobody's business, and that's a big time NFL throw. He's probably going to get the Heisman. The Diego Pavia story is pretty good. I think he's our age. He's been in college for like a decade. But I like that he's brought Vanderbilt to relevance in terms of football. But personally, I get grown up baby Gronk vibes off the kid. But I'm just an old fuddy-duddy, but that's just me. But yeah, those are all good guys. I think saying, it's his to lose probably next year.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback, man. He's just a little skinny, a little thin. An off season in Columbus with the those coaches and that strength program will get him on the right path that he's already on.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Well, Mendoza, first, if I'm drafting him, dude's getting an acting coach for starters, because that was brutal to watch. He's sounded like Peter Brady when he hit puberty.
Yeah.
That episode of the Brady Bunch, I was just like, voice is all cracking and shit. I was like, whatever. You didn't have to play the MS card too to pull at our heartstrings.
No.
But I'm not doing that. I'm love all the way. I need a silver lining to this ND just getting it up the hoop. So kind of pissed me off, dude. But so we already touched on this a little bit, but Browns way too early draft, because that's what we have to focus on. We got 4 more losses to stare at before we can before it becomes our season.
Mm-hmm.
Our season's the draft. Where's the draft this year? That's something we should consider going to.
I think it's Pittsburgh. I think it's Pittsburgh. I don't want to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, why do it what? Like not the NFL with all the money they have. Why would you go to such a disgusting scumbag of a city? That makes no sense. But yeah, whatever. But so anyway, not to where I know we talked about it. I think weapons. I think, to me, to your point, I don't know how deep the offensive linemen are in the draft. I think you see what you got maybe with that second pick. If not, I think I'm going skill wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Then as you said, linemen, DBs, and we have enough picks just to stack up the linemen, bring them in.
Give me 7 offensive linemen, and we'll figure it out. I think they're going to end up getting an interior offensive lineman with some free agents, somebody they're going to start. I don't know if they're going to completely let Weifler have the helm, have the pivot. But yeah, just like you
Yeah.
said, man, I'm going whatever, one of the three receivers, whether it's Tyson from Arizona State, whether it's Carnell Tate, who's probably going to be the most mocked person to Cleveland over the next couple of months, or Makari Lemon from USC. All three of them are big, fast, strong wide receiver ones. I think Lemon's probably going to run the fastest. I think Tate's probably not going to have game speed, but he's got that. I think Tate's probably going to be the guy. I love Tyson, obviously the Cavs family member already, but just that injury history scares me, and we're already pretty snake bitten, so I'm not sure. But after that, let's just, like you said, let's load up on linemen. Um, any of those two guys from Utah are good. I like
Yeah.
the big one from Penn State. I like Blake Miller from Clemson. There's a couple guys we can definitely have. I'll probably start digging into that a little bit after once we can focus on our prime season, our Super Bowl, which is the NFL draft in the off season. But I maybe get a safety. I think we might want to go after a starting level safety to kind of push Hickman as like a reserve, or I'm thinking move Emerson back to free safety, kind of help him
Yep. Forgetting
elongate his
he's coming
career,
back.
and then let's
Yeah.
maybe then we'll need another corner, but a lot of the defense is going to be good. Um,
We gonna get Jock to just pull a Bobby Boucher on us next year,
yep,
like just radio silence and he reports to camp.
yep.
I don't know.
I hope he can make it, but Carson is probably going to be. He's got a good shot to be defensive rookie of the year based on what we've seen so far. So, the future is bright for the non-premium positions, which he's Barry crushed it this year with that, but we still quarterback's going to help if Shador can make himself continue what he
Yeah.
did last week, continue that trend. Then we still got to find, we got to get an offensive lineman. I'm still pretty pissed of the Jed Willis over Tristan Wirfs debacle, especially living down here in Orlando, where all I hear is everyone talk about how awesome he is. The only lineman to be all pro right tackle, all pro left tackle. And literally that's all I wanted. I wanted Tristan Wirfs with that 10th pick, and I couldn't get it. So, but what do I know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, we're getting close. Offensively, I think we have just a handful of work to do. The main course of the work will be on the offensive side of the ball. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm going to call this right now. I'm putting this out there just to kind of preempt the scumbaggery Pittsburgh fan base. We're on to you. I'm already predicting like some sort of a delay where we can't get our first round pick to the podium in time. Some shenanigans go on. I don't trust that town, so whatever. I know you mentioned Schweisinger. If you're a couple weeks out from buying Christmas presents, you're looking for a Browns jersey, that's the one to get.
Number 49.
That dude's gonna be, he's gonna be beloved Brown for years. I too early hedge my bets. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I don't know. It's his first year, but dude looks pretty freaking good. So I don't know. We're gonna say good omen because you're wearing the old school Eric Turner jersey today.
Sure,
That's a power move right there.
Yeah.
So
Ball knower.
yeah, for sure. So I'm done with football for the week. I need a break. But wrestling, you're in the throes of it. I know college started. I can't believe how early the high school season started. Like 3 weeks ago, I know some friends in North Carolina were saying they're already competing. That's crazy. I think like Colorado just started last week and was the first competitions.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
My boy missed, I think, 2 weeks of wrestling because it was his football team in the playoffs, and then he went right. We got that week off for Thanksgiving week, and I was hoping to get him to chill and kind of heal over. And then on like Tuesday, he's like, "I'm ready to go. Let's go." I'm like, "Are you sure, bro?" I think he missed one set of duels, and then he's got in. He's in his he had a duel last Wednesday, and then a 7-team rotating dual meet on this past weekend. So yeah, we're in it now. It's pretty much the way it is in Florida. We do it's a lot of tournaments because just the programs are just not up to what you and I were used to back in the Avon Lake era, where we had a freshman team, a JV team, a varsity team of every weight class and wrestle offs for like even those
Yeah.
spots. So, we got kids we're a big school and we've got kids who are literally 3 weeks of wrestling and they're wrestling varsity. And
Yeah.
it's tough.
That's not it's not just Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like there's a lot of state like I would say the wrestling out here is pretty good at the top. But there's still a lot of that, across the board. I would say, but with all that said, and I've lived out here, I'm not knocking. Colorado wrestling's been pretty tough, but like, we have a team over here, I won't mention their name, but they win state every year at the 5A level, which is the top of the top. And, they are very good, and they'll go out and they do a couple tournaments in California, big name ones, but then they go to the Ironman at Walsh and get their asses handed to them because that's sort of the mecca of wrestling.
Right.
However, I will say, going back there, you still have that, but wrestling's just not like even the numbers in Ohio and stuff. It's not like it was when we were kids. I mean, they got freaking bowling and
Yeah.
the schools that have hockey. Like, there's just too much to compete with, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's not, and what I've seen too is it gives you the illusion, like in Ohio, that there's just like so many that you have two varsity teams. So like Avon Lake, our alma mater, they got two varsity teams, and I don't know what their numbers are after that, but I do know this: the quality of like when we were growing up, like freshman tournaments or like a JV tournament, they don't have the numbers, so a lot of schools will just field the second varsity team and then enter them into varsity tournaments because they're trying to get matches for guys because you can get like enter a JV thing and it's like I'm in an 8-man bracket with 3 guys. It's like I'm not getting any freaking matches, shit like that. So I think that's just more of a sign of the times. One of the best things that's happened is girls wrestling.
Right.
Girls wrestling has been great for the sport for a few reasons. I saw it over where I was coaching. You have families that are into wrestling. They have multiple siblings. So girls wrestle, the boys get into it and vice versa. It helps the numbers for the program. I'll tell you what, the parents, this is what I found. I don't generalize things, but finding out a lot about myself today. But a lot of the families of a lot of these girls wrestles are very committed. They're there, and I mean, like they're active.
Yep.
They're there supporting. You need volunteers for tournaments. I'm sure Florida's like this, man. Do you guys host a tournament?
No, we a couple duels. That's it.
Dude, you lucked out because you host a tournament. It's like parent meeting. We need potluck. I need table workers. All that shit. That honestly. Here's something. If you love wrestling, you grew up around wrestling, you want to coach wrestling, unless you just have it in your heart and you have a bunch of really solid assistant coaches that you want to go and like do something like that, that's great. But being a head coach is a lot less about the wrestling and more about administrative and wrangling than it is. And you don't get the time to focus on the stuff that you truly do love because you're so stuck doing all the administrative stuff. And don't have a bad AD because you're going to be doing all the scheduling, bus arrangements, all that crap. So that's like the worst part of it. But yeah, it's crazy. So is he staying at 215?
Yeah, he's staying at 215. He's a sophomore, second year, and then they've got a senior who's at 215. He's a pretty solid kid. I think they're wrestling off tomorrow. They tried to ask him, Ryan, you want to do, you want to wrestle 285? I was like, absolutely not. He just doesn't have he's probably stronger than most 285-pound kids, but I just don't. You don't have the experience or the gas right now and I don't, there's no real reason to do it. I'd rather him just get some, wrestle varsity when he can every tournament. If they have extra people, if they need people, let him in. Yeah. Otherwise, split, JV and varsity and just keep learning and just it's more having a good experience because wrestling, it sucks. It's tough. So,
oh yeah, you gotta love it. It's like, I think back, it was like football practice was some of the most fun I ever had. Like, and it was the dumb stuff like shagging punts and running like scout offenses and stuff like that. Wrestling practice, particularly in the throes of the season, is not that much fun. It's a grind. It's hard. You're not leaving. Like, you're leaving there, you're tired. It's dark out. Mm-hmm. You're not going home to go eat your favorite snack. It's just like, it's a different thing. But I definitely learned my lesson, though, with that weight. Like, 215 is weird because I would say, when you start getting up when you start getting up there, you're going to get a lot of multi-sport athletes. And that doesn't mean that there aren't guys that are like, I've been wrestling since I was 5 and this and that. But
Right.
I would say there's a little bit, there's less of that. It's more like we're looking for the football players, right? So
I
you could
haven't
be a
seen
good
any
athlete.
technicians in any of his matches. There's been no
Yeah,
technicians.
there aren't many. There's a lot of like athletes,
Yeah.
like football players, that's what it is. But 215, you can tend to find you're going to get the strong freak athlete guy more than heavyweight. A lot of times on most programs, you're going to at 215, you're going to get the better wrestler's going to go 215 and the scrub's going to go 285 unless you're being strategic because you think your 215 can beat somebody, this and that. The problem gets into, which gets dangerous because it's really easy. And I'm not going to say I didn't do it. I've bounced guys around my lineup, but I think where it happens is you start getting into tournaments and you start getting around some good wrestlers at heavyweight and you start bumping a kid. Most kids aren't cutting to 215.
Right.
So like Ryan's probably like what, 210, 205?
He came in at
somewhere in there.
He's probably around 208. So I'm gonna see.
Right.
It's his third week, so we'll see. If he wants to go to 190, we'll see how fast the weight comes off. I don't care. I'd rather not be cutting, but whatever.
But no, absolutely. That's why I would stay there. But my point is, so you take a kid like that who's walking at 208. And then you go, oh, well, let's have him wrestle at heavyweight because, we have 2 good guys and one of them can go heavyweight. You start going to the tournaments where you got a good guy. You got kids are cutting down to 275 that are freak athletes. You're giving up 70 pounds. That's a great way to get hurt. Because it's a lot of tie up in upper body and trips. And like, that's a great way to get somebody hurt. It's not worth it. Right. So it's kind of pick your poison. It's like, oh, I'm going to be an undersized heavyweight. No, I would rather take a doughy kid that has the weight and throw them up there. I think they're less likely to get themselves. If you got a kid that's strong and competitive like Ryan is, he's not going to go back down from a challenge. If they're going to go up there to wrestle some kid who's 70 pounds over you, that's a recipe to get hurt.
Yeah,
so
he'll end up pulling.
Yeah.
So, well, but I think he's 3-1 for his first so far varsity, which is second year. I'm happy with, and I'm just happy he's doing it because it's. Like we said, there's a lot. There's a ton of other ways to spend your winter, especially down here in Florida. So he's working out. He's once the carryover from wrestling to the beginning of weightlifting season starts to happen, I could see him piecing out, leaving early. But I think he really wants to try to go to states this year as a weightlifting. We'll see about that. He was
heck yeah.
He was 175 last year, so he'll be like 215, 210 this year for the weightlifting. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. There's some good wrestling down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like there's some schools I know over in that the Inverness area. Citrus.
Yep.
I think has a decent program. I know Brandon's still tough. I know they were for years. That was the program. So yeah, it'll be interested. But then when you see like it's funny too, because you wonder like there's when you watch a collegiate wrestling at the heavyweight, you see some of these guys and you're like, did you no way you lost in high school? You like this Gable Steveson. I know you know him from the MMA world. That dude's just an absolute freak of nature. That kid Wyatt just won it last year and beat him. But then like he was the one's a freak is like Mason Paris. It's like just a gargantuan man that wrestled for Michigan. And then also he was a state qualifier in the 110 hurdles.
That's insane.
What? Yeah, like that's just such a scary, powerful person. You see these guys doing backflips, and it's just like that's one of the scariest people you're ever gonna meet, right there, right? It's like the agility and athleticism. But well, cool, exciting times. Looking to hear some more. So we haven't had you. It's been a couple weeks since we watched that debacle in the Ravens game. We already did a little dissecting of this.
Talk about the one in the field or the one in the stands involving Chris Hyatt.
I think that's called, what was that called? Like foreshadowing in the movie industry?
Yes,
like,
totally.
No, Hyatt was definitely like, here's what kind of day today is going to be. So you get to deal with him more than me. Here's what I learned that weekend. I didn't learn that like, Dylan isn't the guy or we're a bad team. I learned that like, egg 6 shots of Rumpelmans in 35 minutes. That's just not a recipe. He started to. I saw him. You know him. He starts feeling. He starts
doing this.
He was like, I saw him do this. Hit the shot. They grabbed a beer, and then the music was vibing, and he was like, You'd see him take his jacket off. He started 3/4 up the sleeves, and I was like, shit's about to go south real quickly. And then like his boy dad, like how long has it been since they hung out?
So I guess he hung out with him a couple. He goes over there and stays in. That's like that's his name on like Connected. When
I hope so, because I would be like, I haven't seen you in 20 years, and what?
what happened? Yeah,
he just goes full hangover.
We everyone, you guys left to make it for kickoff, and then I hung out back at the old Barley House. My buddy Justin, shout out Justin Cruz, thanks again.
Cool dude.
And Chris was pretty crippled, and so after I got up there, I went into the stadium, and I think I went up to the seats. No one was there, and I think you were moved into the either 300s or the stand.
I went to the blight porch like almost immediately. Yeah.
And then I went down over there, and then I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep going down. And then I went down, and I was sitting down at like second row dog pound because it was so cold. Security didn't give a fuck. No one was there. And I sat down. I'm like, oh my God, is that Shador? Are we playing? So yeah. And then I kept trying to call Hyatt, and then I got a call from Dan, his buddy. So, and he's like, hey, we're outside. He is falling down all over the place. I'm like, all right, whatever. Where are you? I'll pick him up because we're going to stay in the hotel and we're going to fly out the next day. So I picked him up. He ended up, I took my car to, it was like in the fourth quarter. You're 5 minutes left. I texted you. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to go get Chris. I'll talk to you in a little bit. I grabbed him. He was an absolute mess of a human being. He was just like, oh, I'm so drunk. Oh, I'm so drunk. And I just like, shut up. Shut up.
His videos were so awesome.
And then
magical.
And then I put him to bed because he was a 51-year-old child. I set up his CPAP and everything. I'm like, put this on.
Oh my God.
Because I didn't want his drunk ass snoring all night.
You literally saved his life, probably. Yeah.
And then I went back out and I met my boy Justin at B-Dub's Great Northern for just to hang out and talk and just chill. But yeah, and then I came back in the morning and Chris was like, who set up my CPAP and what happened? And I'm like, bro, I'm like, Chris, how was the game? He's like, I don't remember. And then he's like calling his wife saying, I got so drunk. I don't know what happened. I'm like, you drink fucking Rumplemans like it's 1994, you clown. And you paid the iron price for it. Like he's about 180 pounds and I'm about 250. And I had one and I had some pretzels and some pizza, had a second, and then I'm drinking the beer. And then I'm like, you know what? That's enough for me. And he just kept going. Yeah. And I'm like, my boy, do you not know how science works?
He was cut loose. I was like, I didn't like figure that he was going to get to that point. I took that picture and sent it to his wife with him with the bottle. And I'm just like, now in hindsight, I was like, probably like, I didn't know he was going to go off the rails. But like, okay, so our seats weren't all together. So we went down to the Bud Light porch. And then like just between him and Dan, they were like, where are you guys? We're like, we're at the Bud Light porch. I'm right on the end. All right, we're headed that way. Where are you guys at? Still sitting in the Bud Light. Like, it's like so many calls. I was like, I have not moved. I'm in the same place and never made it. I had no idea where he is. So then it digressed to like, where are you? Still in Bud Light porch. Where are you? And then it just got random pictures from around the stadium. But that thing of him trying to call me in the car was so awesome. So I can't call Rich. Like, you're like, shut up. It's so great.
God, he was something.
I wish I could say I'm surprised, but you know, he doesn't let that side of him out too often. But when he does,
it's pretty awesome. It's pretty epic to see, and I'm just glad everybody made it home safe, and he was good. And once I saw the Hyatt was going to go one way, headed towards that way, I kind of backed off my own partying, and I kind of like, I'm going to be the responsible one, which was fine. It's the whole weekend.
Dude, he's good. Yeah, Nate filled the role typically filled by Dave Coughlin at the game. My typical, the old when I needed you at BG days, or the what was the game here when that guy was talking shit at the Broncos game and I was getting mad about it. I had one of those because like I was just chill having a good time at the game. This is typical my behavior. Like I didn't go off the rails. Although now that I say this, I think we went and ordered a whole bunch of Taco Bell. we got Claire to take us to Taco Bell. I think at that point I was 75% Chris Hyatt, but before that,
Yeah.
keeping it together. But we got up to pee one time, and this like dude on the end with his buddy is like, "Why don't you bring a bucket next time?" And like, is the thing you could do to make me the maddest. That's how mad that made me. It made me so mad, and I was just like, just shouting down there at the end. I was just like, "Oh, you two gonna make out?" Like just yelling at him the whole time. Like this is how I got. At one point, Nate literally was sitting on top of me, pinning me to my sister because he was like, "Shut up! You're not fighting anybody." I'm like, "I'm kicking that guy's ass," and then he's like, "You're not gonna fight anybody." Well, we ran into his boy Meech, who was the heavyweight for Heidelberg, who's a savage. So I was like, "I'm not fighting anybody. I got Meech and I got you. I'm just gonna talk. I'm just picking a fight." It's pretty good. So then, of course, we're like going home, and I get ratted out. They're like, "Yeah, Dad's just trying to start a fight with the guy because he said one thing. He's like, I know the guy was an a-hole, but like, just let it go." I was like, "You've never talked to me before?" Because I don't. Never in the history of letting anything go have I ever let anything go.
And another thing that sucked about Chris's journey into the land of inebriato was that he's usually great to talk shit against somebody. Against the Falcons game, there was that 14-year-old boy behind us where he was like pointing at in front of his parents, and I'm just laughing. And so it's very fun to just kind of wind him up and let him go. But we missed that opportunity due to the siren's call of the Rumplements, which
he did it. The rat voice. I miss him talking crap with the rat voice.
Yeah.
What's the scoreboard now? There wasn't. So next one, we definitely have to make up. There were not enough. Joe, why don't you drink 6 shots in 35 minutes like Chris does? That needs to make a reappearance. But yeah, it was good. Well, we'll circle some games for next year. I would have been about going freaking draft, but the draft is fun, but I'm not going to Pittsburgh. Bunk that shitty ass school. So that brings me, I did have this at the end. So that's a nice segue into Claire got into PA school. She'll be going to Slippery Rock, which is 45 minutes northish of Pittsburgh. But my one, she was like looking at schools. It's like, "Oh, what do you think of the school and all that?" And I said, "Here's my only thing. If I see anything that's black or yellow or anything with it," she's like, "Never, I wouldn't." I'm like, "I'm just telling you right now. You consider yourself warned." That's not. And then going to Slippery Rock, like Nate just went off the rails yesterday because he's a 22, soon to be 23 college grad working on his MBA, and the amount that he found saying slippery cock instead of slippery rock funny yesterday was just like,
absolutely,
he wouldn't let it go. And then he just transitioned that into everything that I'm going to say on this family chat is just going to be Alanis Morissette lyrics. I was like, "Are we having a couple beers on a Monday night?" It's like, no. He was in Illinois over the weekend. He went to University of Illinois to hit up his boy for the weekend. So maybe he had a hungover Saturday drunk. He transitioned into the week. I don't know. But what's that?
Slippery Rock was a fun place. I went to right after high school. I went to Edinburgh, which is about an hour north, and I had I think it was 3 or 4 of the best sophomore years of my life up at Edinburgh. And I spent a lot of time running down to Slippery Rock for some weekend excursions, some frat boy stuff. I've been down to Pittsburgh a bunch, but yeah, Slippery Rock's a fun little school, fun little college. Claire's gonna crush it because that's Claire. But yeah, it'll be a good time. And
yeah, she's pretty. Dude, I went out to Borough twice to see you, and one of them I went to Allegheny, or I did a separate trip, and I honestly could not tell you where either of those schools were. Like, I don't remember how we got so. Do you know where Mercyhurst is?
Yeah, Mercyhurst is in
and
Erie.
Then Slippery Rock. Is it between the two of them, or is it south of?
You
Slippery
go
Rock?
I-90 all the way into Erie from Cleveland, and you run right into Erie. Mercyhurst is in Erie. Then you go 79 runs north and south all along that left side of Pennsylvania, and 79 about 25 minutes south from Erie is going to be Edinburgh. About an hour plus from Edinburgh is going to be Slippery Rock, and then about an hour and a half south of that is going to be the town of Schittsburg, where those scumbags live.
Dude, I remember going to the Borough, but I remember almost nothing because we always got there late. It was just like go to a party, remember nothing else. Then there's your trips to Bowling Green, just be like, we would all be partying. then we would go out. Then I would just find you at another point. We would run into it. It's just like
I don't know where I'm at,
some of the
and somehow we
craziest
end up at the
nights.
same bar.
Oh my goodness, those
There
were
was
some.
there
Hyatt had some good ones too, because Hyatt would come up like if Miami was playing or something, and like that he was drinking at the Ravens game like he used to in the
Yes.
BG
Yes.
days.
Yeah.
Like
He doesn't have any chill. He's it's either all the way open or all the way closed with Hyatt, which is yeah, there was
yeah,
one memory I came up for to BG, and I think I think your sister was still there, and we went to one of her friends'
oh
apartment. And I was like, I wasn't really drinking, and then I went to like the woman whose apartment was. I'm like, hey, I haven't drank a whole lot, but just let me know if I get a little out of control. And she's like, yeah, of course. And then like an hour later, my shirt's off, and I'm like, I'll fight everybody. And she's like, hey, Dave, you're getting a lot of control. I'm like, fucking farting and drinking. I probably asked her to do a body shot off me. It was pretty stupid.
Was that when you were like? So Meg was there for like one semester, and I know it was when she was still there. We went to a party, and it was like after multiple days of drinking. So I had like good beer shit belly going on. I just went to a party, and I was just cropped us in the entire party. Like, and I would just go to a different room, and then Meg would be like, "Was that you? What the hell?"
And it's literally like all seniors and post grads, and then me and you, 19 and 18.
I know.
We're not experienced drinkers. We're not experienced at talking to girls. We're just fucking ass clowns. It was awesome.
Well, she used to do, she would work at Put in Bay during the summer,
Right.
and like a lot of our friends like worked at, live at Bowling Green, and like we had those. Pickman had those apartments right behind where my door was, and she had a bunch of friends over there, and it would be like Sunday morning. I just get a phone call from Meg and be like, "So, so and so told me you were like streaking around these apartments." I was like, "I don't remember."
No, those were
that.
other guys. Those are other guys.
It's like it didn't happen, so leave me alone. Good times, love that.
For sure.
But back to Hyatt and his partying days. Hyatt is like a Ferrari. He's like when he's idle, like he has for the last several years. It's like your nice Ferrari that you parked in the garage and storage. It's on the battery tender. It's chill. It's not causing any harm. But you take it out of the garage, there's no observing the speed limit.
He's Chernobyl.
Yeah, he goes nuclear on it. There's all or nothing. So yeah, we have to get like, I know we didn't do it this year. We got to get him to Vegas. I would just like to see it.
Oh god, Nicole will kill
Hyatt
us.
winning.
She would kill us both if we got Hyatt to Vegas.
I know. He was like, she's not supportive of me taking my shirt off. I was like, all you have to do is tell us to shut up. But until you do and continue to listen to us, I'm just going to keep telling you to do it. That means he wants it.
He secretly yearns to do it.
Yeah. Be like, stop acting like a victim. You're 51 years old. Just tell us to shut up. No. Meanwhile, you're just driving back from Atlanta to Savannah with your shirt off in the car.
I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was great. He will come through, though. He's a character. Well, I have one more thing on here. I'll chime in. I know you spent a long time with this dude, but sad news out of Avon Lake. So, John Noble, our former classmate, passed away this week. I think he had, some health struggles for the last several years. So, sort of a sad case, but it sounds like he sort of chose to go out on his terms. But always enjoyed hanging out with that guy. He was funny. He was a pretty cool dude. Enjoyed hanging out at his house. It's cool to see that these guys that still kind of, that we played music with. Well, you all played music with, and I fumbled my way through and posed with my guitar, that stuck around and continued doing it. That's pretty cool to see. So,
yeah, old John was he taught me a lot about bass. I was an aspiring bass player, growing up in Avon Lake, Ohio. We didn't really have much musical influences to look up to, between, it was basically me, you, and whatever guy.
Mark Pisarczyk.
Yeah. Mark Pisarczyk, and who was the Al Foster at Cost Music Center in
Yes.
Village.
Yeah.
Although Mark Pisarczyk's wife was a fucking dime piece. Let's lay that out. She was fucking the queen of the 45s back in the day. But yeah, so John, I discovered John. He was in a class with me. He said he's played bass. I started talking to him. He definitely, back when I met him, I was just getting into Rush, and he's like, "Hey man, how about this? You ever heard of Dream Theater?" I'm like, well, "No, what are you talking about?" He's like, "This is Rush on steroids." And I've always remembered that that quote, and it was fun. I got to be in a band with him and his brother. So I was a shitty bassist.
Oh, that's right. He was a drummer, wasn't he,
And then
Chris?
Chris Noble was the drummer. So we would call ourselves Van Noble. Um, and then Ryan Sandy's brother Thad was there for one time, and he was like, "I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is just insane." I had not. John had the distorted bass. I was like, had my the 5 songs that I knew. But yeah, he was always good. We didn't really run in a whole lot of cliques together, but I think with the music and our interests, we definitely got to talk a lot. And our boy Jason Welch is a big musician. He kind of bridged the gap between the jocks and then the band kids and the musicians, and he was really tight with John. But it's a shame, and we be getting old, and every couple months we keep hearing about somebody from the class of 93 or 92 or 94, and it's just gonna keep on living.
Yeah, you do. You never know, man. It's sad. I remember a couple hangs over at John's house. Yeah, he was a cool guy. He was always cool to me. I liked him, and it was good. It's been cool to see now you brought their names up. Jason's a good one. Jason stuck with it, and he's done very well for himself. He's got some nice toys. So, I've seen some of his instruments on some of his posts. Cool. Put out the CD. It's a pretty cool thing to do. Post, man, that's pretty cool. I've seen him playing bands. He's doing movies. It's just cool to see some of these guys still keeping on.
Shane Post just was in Japan touring, or not.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Had a couple concerts. Yeah, maybe not like a full tour, but set up a couple concerts. Ron George, the old the other guitarist of the class of 93. He's still in movies. He's doing horror.
He's doing he does makeup art, for horror movies and stuff. Yeah, it's cool to see the guys are doing stuff, and it's for as many people as we know that I guess were these big crazy successes and whatever, it's almost cooler these guys that kept doing the stuff that they really like doing.
Yeah.
So, I know you've done a good job saying it. Ever since I've known you, you've been in some sort of other athletic endeavor, and you have never stopped doing it. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, go back to our workouts in Cassandy's basement with the candy bar, and then the 1 minute uninterrupted hitting the punching bag with a baseball bat, just old school workouts. Transformed you into the athlete that you are today.
Yeah, it's fun. Every once in a while they make me put on gear and go into a burning building, so I got to keep doing something, whether it's trying to attain the top of the food chain with my 215-pound monster unemployed kid that just eats protein like it's his job. So I gotta stay maybe not in tip top aesthetic shape, but I'm still able to do some stuff, and I can get going if I have to, and I can throw some weight around if I have to, but I still I roll around with dudes in pajamas. I also do jujitsu, which are 2 completely separate things, but don't hate on me for it.
That's something I wish. I guess it's never too late, but I could definitely have gotten into some jiu-jitsu. More for, I like working on technique. I like to wrestle, and finding some guys your age. I feel like I could maybe one of these days I'll pick it up, get into it. But yeah, well, you're humble about it, because I know your wife gave you a brag post not too long ago. So you are a true American hero, Dave.
How about that?
Yeah. You saved a life. You solved sleep apnea, alcohol poisoning.
I think that was more. I put
and I'm sure there was a couple other things in there, all in one night, off of one person.
The sleep apnea the CPAP was more for me, because I shared a room with him, than anybody. Because I was going to choke him out if he was snoring with that drunk ass snoring of his. But
I'm waiting to our next boys trip where we're all sharing a room, and you just wake up with one of your CPAPs on because you guys are sick of hearing me.
I'm going to bring an extra one just for you next time.
Wait, I got a good story for you. So Nate's senior year was a COVID year. So we didn't have a season before. Everything got slid back. So before it, out west, there were states that were kind of we don't give a shit. Utah was one, and Idaho. We're still going to do some of this stuff. So we were going into high school tournaments kind of as independents, and I was flying them out. So I take Nate and his buddy Eden, who was 3 years young. I think he was a freshman. I take this dude, the whole trip. So let me just get into where this whole trip went south. We fly into Salt Lake and drove to Boise for a tournament. So we fly. First off, dude, I don't know if he's ever flown, but he's just throwing up in the sink before we get on the plane. His buddy is. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. We get there. At one point, going in and out of there, he gets pulled out because we have a different name. And then literally walks away from TSA going, they thought that you were sex trafficking me, coach. And I was like, thank you. Let's yell that very loudly. And then proceeds to change his clothes at the airport, just standing in the middle of the thing. I'm like, why are your clothes off? I'm changing. I'm like, dude, after what just happened, can we just not now?
Get through this.
Like, what are you doing? So anyway, fast forward to this whole thing. We go to this tournament in Boise, and we're in a room, and me and Nate are in a bed, and Eden's in the other one by himself. And apparently I was snoring, and I just wake up at one point, and dude's just sitting up in his bed against the wall like this, just staring at me like this. And he was probably, he's like 113 pounds. He was contemplating putting the pillow over my face and killing me that night. I was looking at him and I was like, dude, what's wrong? He's like, I couldn't sleep. It's like, close your eyes, you psycho. I'm like, why are you just staring at me sleeping? I feel like I get ready to die.
You were rocking that night in Atlanta, and we weren't even like throwing down. We were just all around, and you were snoring like you were trying to knock the walls down, man. That shit was out of control.
I think between you, me, and Nate, we had a cumulative like 6 hours of sleep, so that didn't help. Hyatt was well rested, so whatever. I would go back there. It was a good time. Atlanta was a fun vibe.
Yep,
and the fan base was pretty chill.
Yep.
That owner's cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking buying drinks with a 20 and getting change back. Yeah,
that
4 drinks.
Whole thing was, $4 beers was something, and $5 dogs. Next year we got I'm always looking at, there's always next year because I'm a Browns fan. So we've got I think they got road trips to Nashville and road trips to Tampa, and I believe road trips to Jax, but I'm not sure on that one. That one might be different, but those are all good. And then of course
Tampa be fun.
Tampa is fun. The year after that is when Jacksonville will have all their home games in Orlando. So they might not play the Browns, but I'm probably just going to grab season tickets just to have them because, when's the next time I'm going to be able to watch football every other week in person?
Oh, that's all. Be awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So.
Well, cool.
Yeah, bro.
Well, thanks for sitting in. Appreciate it. We'll have you back on again.
Absolutely.
Like your in-depth analysis that comes with some rationale study and, actual theory behind it instead of my incoherent ramblings and anger.
I put the anal in analysis.
That's great. We're gonna put that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah, for sure.
For real.
But
Nader
I'm happy
will be
to
back
step in for Nate while he crushes this project, and he'll be back next week. And both St. Bernard kids are crushing. Both the twins are crushing it. Right now, getting their postgraduate stuff going on, and so hats off to them. And if you need me for another visit, I'm happy to do it.
100% we'll be back. I know we're working on some things.
Yeah.
I got the full court press on trying to come up with a fun visitor, or a guest on the one of the upcoming pods. So we'll definitely have you back on. But thanks for sitting in,
definitely,
and
bro.
we'll catch y'all next week. Peace out.
Come back, beat kicks in crowd noise, whistle blows.